Welcome to HopCast.
Thanks for coming out to the CBC with us, everybody.
All right, I'm Chmielewski.
My name is Ken Hunnemeder.
And special guest,
Daniel Del Grande.
And this is the man over at Bison Brewing Company.
Yeah.
All organic.
Yep. All my beers are organic.
What made you choose to do that?
Well, I was, I got into the business in '97 after getting out of brewmaster school, and just was doing my regular brew pub thing, and then I realized one day that organic malt was being offered by my maltsters, and I'm like, oh well, I buy everything organically at home and go to the farmer's market, blah blah blah. So I should start doing that with my business, try to sync those values, and I just made the leap. It took about a year and a half to finally get everything converted over, and that's been that way since end of 2002.
What's some of the differences that you notice when using some of the organic ingredients?
Well, when I use, I can make a beer taste the exact same organically or non-organically. So there's really no real difference in the flavor profiles of the beers. What we're doing is supporting organic agriculture, and that's something that's important to me. However, it's kind of like a box of crayons. A lot of brewers have the 64 color box of crayons. I only have like a 24 color box, so I just have there's fewer things that I have at my disposal. So, but I still make a wide range of beer, all the way from saisons up to Russian Imperial Stouts.
Right, and we got 4 of them here.
Yeah, I got four brews for you today.
So this one, for instance, is an example, the chocolate stout, where you can kind of use some other ingredients maybe to spice it up a little bit with your lack of organic brewing ingredients available to you.
Well, I was using cocoa in the chocolate stout before it was organic, and so I just needed to source out some organic cocoa powder to do that. But there's plenty of spices, especially these days. You can get coriander, orange peel. You can get vanilla. You get all sorts of things organically. So it's a really robust market. So I'm not really limited on that side. It's just some of the specialty brewing malts that I don't have access to.
Right.
And then of course hops. Hops are, there's maybe a dozen varieties of hops that are in really good supply. And then you'll have some kind of specialty things where growers are testing out different hops to see how well they grow.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, let's
get started.
Let's open some beers. You can tell us a little bit about some of these different ones you've got for us.
Start up with the Imperial Brown that I've have here. This is a seasonal beer that I put out in 4-packs. It's basically Pete's Wicked Ale times 2. It was a recipe that for Pete's Wicked Ale. One of those beers that inspired me to become a brewer when I was just a home brewer.
Gotcha.
Just a home brewer.
So seasonal comes out in
it comes out January 1st, and it'll be around till the end of April.
Nice.
And then the next seasonal comes out, which is honey basil. But this beer, it's a brown ale, 7% alcohol. It's just nice, good drinking winter beer.
Yeah, definitely. With the weather we've been having in San Francisco, this is going quite nice.
Right, yeah. Warm up from the walkover.
Yeah. Well, this is we're shooting this at Millennium Restaurant in San Francisco, which is one of my good accounts. He's been had my beer on here for 10 or 12 years.
And they're primarily a vegetarian restaurant.
They're a vegan restaurant, actually. Yeah.
Okay, so it works out well with the organic beer.
Yeah, it's a good brand fit. Yeah.
And you guys are located just on the other side of the bay, and
we're in
by Berkeley.
We're in Berkeley, so like this morning, CBC is in San Francisco, so it's right in my backyard. I didn't get a hotel, just drive back and forth across the bridge, but it only took like 15 minutes to get here, so we're close.
Oh, not bad.
So yeah, cheers.
Yeah,
Thanks
that's
for coming out.
Really nice beer.
Really good.
Let's move over to chocolate stout next. This is probably my best-selling beer. I've until recently it was about 50% of what I make, but IPA has actually caught up and passed it. Yes.
What kind of markets are you in? Because I know I ran across some of your beers like way out in Tennessee or Kentucky.
We're in Kentucky, yeah. We're in 15 states. So, I found that I've been able to grow since, 2005 or 2006 when I really started bottling and sending it out of California and Oregon. There's a lot of great markets for organic beer, and so I'm able to to get out there to the natural food sectors and restaurants.
Right.
Nice.
Chocolate stout. It's a dry foreign style stout, 5% alcohol, so it's not something that you're limited to having just one.
Yeah.
And you get the.
Never stopped us before.
Yeah, there's some real nice bitterness from the cocoa powder and just flavor, but it's not a sweet chocolatey bomb or anything like that.
Right. It's still fairly dry for being a chocolate stout.
Yep, English ale yeast.
Very nice.
Yeah, a lot of flavor. It's nice. It's not too heavy.
Just a good quality roast on there.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't bog you down.
Yeah,
It's good for morning drinking like we're doing right now.
Yeah. Yeah, after you have your cup of coffee, you can have a chocolate stout.
That's exactly what we did.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the secrets to this beer for any homebrewers that are out there is this malt made by Weyermann out of Germany called Carafa malt. It's a dehusked malt, and it just really has a really wonderful flavor. So.
And it's kind of
your
like a chocolatey type of flavor.
Yeah, it's got sort of these roasty and chocolatey characteristics without any of the astringency that you get with a lot of these roasted malts.
And it's available organically.
So next I brought a beer out. This is a Reunion. It's a Belgian-Style Scotch Ale.
Yeah, I've only had a handful of those in my drinking days. Interesting style.
Yeah.
And there's a little story behind this one as well.
Yeah, this is a beer that I brew on 100% of the profits, or actually everything over the cost of making it and shipping it goes to the Multiple Melanoma Society, so it raises funds for cancer research.
Excellent.
So, and this is a project I also did with Pete Slosberg and a guy named Alan Shapiro. It's a great brew. So it's sort of a knockoff of Scotch de Silly, which is an imported beer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
You've got a nice caramel note on there.
There's good caramel, and then the kind of clovey phenolics from the Belgian yeast. I think it really plays in nicely. There's no spice in this, but you just get the spice from the yeast. Yeah.
That's a nice strain.
Yeah.
Kicks off a lot.
Another good breakfast beer.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's almost like you're drinking a tea, with all those herbal qualities of that yeast.
Yeah. It's kind of got a little bit of, now that you say that, I'm thinking chai. I'm not, is it really chai? What do you think?
I don't know if it's chai.
Not quite chai.
I'm not a tea expert, but to me it's just tea. And that's nice. So you with this in mind, you just kind of like come up with a base for just a straight ahead Scotch ale, and then decide to fill ahead the yeast, and that's the only difference, huh?
That's really the only difference, yeah.
Nice.
So you guys all know how to make a Scotch ale. Just play it up and change your yeast out. Not to rush you through, we can I'll get all the beers open, and then we can go back to them. The IPA, of course, is this is 6%, which is down at the lower alcohol content for IPAs. But I really go for the flavor of the hops, and it's not a huge hop bomb. So since it's not a hop bomb, I feel like I need to bring that alcohol down to keep it all in balance.
This one I have had before.
Oh, good.
This is the one that I found while I was running through Kentucky, and it was really good.
Yeah.
So always a treat to have this one. So cheers. It's just I don't know if you would really call it an English style, but
no, it's not. It doesn't have the malt kind of that malty character. There'd be more of it.
But it is more balanced and approachable for an IPA, especially out here on the West Coast.
Yeah. Well, trust me, it's some brewers. To me, if I want you to be able to drink, 3 or 4 of these, and not blow your palate. And I know we got a whole other 6-pack over there somewhere. So I really go for the flavor of the beer, and try not to mask anything by just hopping the hell out of it.
And speaking of the hops, what kind of hops are you using on this one?
We use some organic Cascade, organic Summit, organic Centennial, and this batch has something called Saphir. I think you say it's Saphir. It's an import from Germany, and I'm just playing around with it.
Yeah, I've never had that one.
Yeah, it's just a different beer. I actually like the way it's very perfumey, and I kind of like that.
How limited are you with the hops being organic? Is there a lot of varieties that come organically, or not really?
I mean, there's just not as many, and some of the hot, sexy hops that are out there right now we can't get organically. But I'm actually working to change that. One of the things I'm launching here at the Craft Brewers Convention is something called cooperative.com.
Yes, right.
And that's it's an organic hop mine cooperative. And what I'm trying to do is get all the brewers together, log on to my e-commerce site, which I wrote myself. I was very excited. And order their hops for the next 2-3 years. I can aggregate that data, go to the hop farmers and say, hey, look, guys, we need this much Cascade, this much Summit, this much Centennial, and these are the 3 hops on our wish list. Can you please plant these so that we can join the party, so we can get more crayons in our box?
Exactly.
Yeah.
To bring it all back full circle.
Yeah.
So what's the brewery like out there in Berkeley? Are you doing kind of like a tasting room type of thing, or
no? In 2008, I outgrew my space in Berkeley, and I actually sold off all the equipment to somebody else, and I'm doing this partner brewing now with both Black Diamond Brewing Company in Concord and Mendocino Brewing Company in Ukiah.
Right.
So my hope is that once I get a little bit bigger, I can be able to raise the money to brew my own facility. But when I was faced with this issue a couple years ago, I really wasn't big enough to credibly go to anyone.
Right.
I don't have any rich uncles. I'm not from a wealthy family. I just making beer. So you have to, kind of strategically move forward with the business and show that what you can do is viable and can support $2 million worth of equipment. So
but it seems like you're on a good path.
Yeah, I'm in that stage now. I think the organic, in fact, the reason I'm doing cooperative is because I'm worried about not having enough organic hops for not only my growth, but the whole organic beer sector's growth. And so we're trying to do the cooperative to kind of stabilize that. Because it would be really a shame to build a big brewery and then find out, oh, I'm not organic anymore because I can't find hops.
Yeah. I mean, the hops have been kind of a struggle within the past 5 years or so for anybody. So let alone just doing stuff that's all organic. It's gonna be kind of a struggle. So
Well,
hopefully that works out.
There's a lot of growers that are making organic hops, but they're actually selling them as non-organic hops because there's not a rational market for selling organic hops, and there's a lot of brewers are taking advantage of this. There's an exemption where you can actually make a beer with only 95% organic ingredients and the rest of them non-organic, and still call yourself an organic beer. So luckily, that exemption's going away in January 1st, 2013. So we'll really kind of shake up the hop market and be able to get everybody using organic hops and supporting more acreage converted from non-organic to organic production.
Okay. So they were likely using non-organic hops.
Yeah,
but everything else was
a big brewery that I won't name on this HopCast, but you can Google it and find it, is just put out a single hop Amarillo Pale Ale or something, or IPA. And I'm like, that hop is not available organically. So you just totally told us.
Yeah, right.
So
that one wasn't too hard to figure out. Yeah.
The good news is that in a couple years, everybody, if they have this organic logo on their bottles, will have to be 100% organic, and couldn't be happier.
So do you have some other brewery friends that are doing all organic stuff that you've tried and liked?
Yeah, I mean the Fish Brewery up in Washington does some real nice beers. Eel River in California, good stuff. I haven't had it in a while because they pulled out of the West Coast, but Woolivers is back in Vermont. Their porter is like one of my favorite beers in the world. So if you see them locally, that's one of the more sustainable things is to support a local brewery, and if a local organic brewery is uber sustainable. So, yeah.
We swung through the guys in North Carolina, Pisgah.
Oh yeah,
they were making
Pisgah,
some really good stuff too, and that's all same deal, organic.
Yeah, those guys are like, as I recall, last time I was in Asheville, they were doing pretty hopped up West Coast style IPAs.
Yeah, they've got
a wide
number.
Yeah, they do have plenty of things, but I remember being impressed with their IPA. I'm like, wow.
But speaking of, you mentioned it before, and it's kind of one of those buzz beers that we hear of way back in Chicago where we can't get this stuff, but the honey basil. Tell us a little bit about that one.
Well, that's a beer that it comes out in about 2 weeks, and essentially it's a 5% alcohol beer, so it's pretty low in alcohol. But instead of using hops, I mean, I do use a little bit of hops in the first edition for some bitterness, but there's no hops after that first edition. I just flavor it, or infuse basil in it, and we get. I drove up from. I was having fun on Twitter and Facebook, saying, "Hey man, I'm taking all this herb from San Francisco up to Mendocino to make my beer," and I stuffed my truck full of 160 pounds of basil.
Wow!
Brought it up there, and we just use a pizza docker and macerate all the leaves of the basil and throw it in at the finished. Half of that went in at the end of the boil, and half of it went in the whirlpool.
Okay.
So you get this really nice basil character. And of course, what was the other ingredient in the beer?
Organic honey?
Honey! Right. So we put about 5% of the fermentables is the organic honey.
Cool.
We just get that and dump it in about 5 minutes before the end of the boil.
Yeah, people seem to really like that one. I hear about it all the time on the internets and stuff like that.
So the honey basil's been a real... it's something I did at the pub, and it was always really fresh, and they can't come in and see us making the honey basil, and then 2 weeks later it would be on tap, and it was a big seller at the pub. But I brought it back 2 years ago in bottles. Mm-hmm. So it's out in 12-ounce 4-packs, and it did really, really well. I'm really excited. I doubled my brew amounts this year over last year.
Oh wow, really?
So because I ran out of it last year, like end of July or early August or something, I ran out of it, and distributors are a fickle bunch. They like to have their beer.
Yeah.
This is our money too.
Yeah, if it's selling, they want more.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
So
it sounds like a good food beer. So
you know what? And well, first off, it's just a pleasant drinking beer, and you're like, yeah, I kind of get the basil, I get that, and you can feel sort of the honey. At least last year's batch, I haven't tasted this year's yet, but the honey kind of coated the top of my mouth last year, and just really made a nice warming effect on the beer. And then the moment you pair it with like some pizza or anything with a little bit of basil in the sauce,
right,
it just pulls the basil out of the beer.
Wow, okay.
And it's really a interesting combination. And there was a chef up in Portland that actually showed that to me. I was doing honey basil in 22s, like maybe in 2004, 2005, and I was tasting him on it, and he's like, "Oh my God, this is an amazing beer!" And he runs into the back and he sautéed up a bunch of shrimp, along with some cut up basil. Just sautéed them up, brought them out, and I was eating some shrimp sautéed with basil. Had some of my beer, and both of them just totally complemented each other.
I can totally see that.
It's been something I've been playing with ever since.
Well, I think we got some more drinking to do.
Yeah.
I gotta find that one.
Some eating too.
Yeah. Well, you should always have beer with your dinner. Why have wine? We're all craft beer aficionados.
That's right.
So you need to, go to the store and select different beers that are going to grace your table and whatever you're planning to make. So Thai food, sushi, and Italian food are really great with honey basil.
I can see that, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm getting hungry now.
I know.
Let's finish drinking these and go get something to eat then.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for joining us, Dan.
Cheers. Good to see you. Welcome to the city.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for watching the HopCast here out at Craft Brewers Conference.
Cheers.